got the better reviews, and this is a review of the Hasbro 2008 Spider-Man Classics line Venom re-released from ToyBiz mold. And he is a giant beast with sticking out tongue, white jagged teeth across his entire mouth, jacked muscles, and a giant beast of a figure. I am Perro.
And I am Gato.
And this is the giant life-sized... No, wait, if it was life-sized I'd be scared. But no, I'm sorry, but this is one of the most sought after Venoms, or considered one of the best Venoms ever, mostly because of how his monstrous sculpt and everything. So this, as I said, this is a direct remold or a reissued mold from ToyBiz that originally came out in the amazing Spider-Man Classics line, and we picked this up at a Traders Village flea market for $12. Great deal, great buy. So let's get right into this huge review of a figure. Cool. So we zoom into his face sculpts, and you see that Hasbro didn't change anything at all, besides a couple of paint applications and a couple of things here and there. But for the most part, it's the same. First of all, the tongue, the original one had green slime growing across the tongue and probably dripping down the mouth. And this figure instead features the exact same gimmick on the mouth, which is basically get out of the way. You press the button, and basically he moves his mouse by like not even a little, but I get at least it works sort of. So as you can see on the side of a mouth, the mouth stretches all the way up on top of his eyes, which is totally menacing and gruesome and awesome. So his teeth continue all the way like up here to the bottom, but then his teeth also continue to his top of his head, and his jaw drops down all the way to his chest. So it's pretty nasty. So his eye sculpt is wonderful, same as ToyBiz, and they opted for the same thing as they did as the same carnage from that line. They opted to go with a silver paint on the eyes, as you can see right here. Maybe they're supposed to go together, so they both have silver eyes on that. But he has like an angry sculpt. I don't know. Kind of looks like from the animated series, kind of, maybe, or maybe from the earlier comics of Venom. But I guess that's pretty much it for the head sculpt. It's all very nice. His eyes continue to the top of his head. Everything is way outlandish about this figure. The rest of the sculpt has that same symbiote's kind of a slimy, crawly thing that most figures, Venom figures now have. So one of the biggest changes that Hasbro made to this figure to distinct him from the first release of it was the paint. As you can see, it's a shiny metallic blue paint that goes at least from his biceps all the way to his torso and up, I guess, up to his shoulders. That continues up, and it kind of depends on, it reflects like on lighting and stuff like that. And the other big change is the spider logo, which is more of a Web of Shadows look to it, and I consider this Venom the Web of Shadows Venom because of just the way it looks. If you play that game, it kind of does look like this. Has a pretty huge spider, and instead of the legs, they stretch all the way across his stomach, abs, chest, and shoulders, go onto his back, and they do continue to paint across his arms, but do not go anything on the back. So that can either be a positive or a negative. That's your thoughts. But on the back, you can see how of a beast of a muscle he is. Look at all that. He's got the symbiote crawling all over it. Not any detail on the button, but no, that's stupid gimmick. But then there is kind of these not warts, I don't know, these little things you can feel across the texture of the figure, like for example right there, a giant pimple on Venom. But you can see the giant triceps, biceps, his forearms are huge. This guy's been worried, like Eddie Brock is a bodybuilder, but dang, the symbiote opted to give him lots of muscles, like it enhanced everything. They sculpted the fingers, they sculpted they painted the web shooters, and I think there's even a little sculpt in there suggesting where his web comes out. Again, sculpt of the symbiote on his thighs right there. Very nice. Across the rest of the figure, there's not much blue paint, I guess, on the legs. Yeah, it continues on the legs. More of that awesome symbiote sculpt down the legs and up to his toes right there. So overall, great figure with the paint. Again, ToyBiz made this, so it's expected because they made awesome figures back in the day. So articulation on this guy, he has no articulation on his head due to that gimmick, so it doesn't even go side to side, up and down. I guess if you're going to count the jaw's articulation, and his biceps or his arms go up and down. Which unfortunately, one drawback from being a used figure is he's kind of a Can you hear that? It's kind of shaky inside, and his right arm is a bit more, I don't know, it's just more weak. But the best thing I can find to do is to pull his arm just back, and then he'll stay with his arm up. So that's kind of a drawback, but not that bad. Bicep articulation, one joint at the elbow because his giant muscles will not allow him to go any further, like my mama. His individual finger articulation that moves up and down. You can make a fist, but the fingers will not go up as much, but it's still good. Torso articulation that works kind of as an ab crunch, but not really, but mostly twist side to side. And he has waist articulation, has got those doing also right now. He has actual T-joints that I thought were greatly sculpted, because if you can see on the side, it's kind of like a ball joint that sticks into the sculpt of the figure. If you could turn it around, like you can see, if focus please. You're not gonna focus, but just know that there's like a little ball joint in there that kind of holds the thigh articulation there. Sorry if I can't focus in. So thigh articulation, double jointed knees on Venom. Yeah, they're really tough. Come on, okay, that's enough. Okay, that's 90, but he can go like that. Oh, no wonder, because of the mass of this figure, ToyBiz added little rivets or little things. I don't know what they're called, but they plastic things that keep the figure kind of like what you see on tanks, I guess, because tanks are huge. But and then for his feet, he has ankles that move up and down, and the toe articulation, and the old style, I guess, when ToyBiz was experimenting on ankle pivot, where it has like a hinge on the side and it can kind of twist a bit on the ankle pivot. So great articulation on the figure, disappointment on the head, but not bad. And was shown with the other figures from our line, from the front Spider-Man Classics line. For example, the Carnage that came out that will also be released, the Carnage mold, which is right here. As you can see, I said the silver eye, so they go great together, you know. So that's also from the Spider-Man line of 2008 Hasbro. And now we'll compare it to the Scorpion Venom, also from the same line, which this would complete the entire line of Venom figures or symbiote figures that came out from Hasbro. Matt Gargan, Eddie Brock, and Cletus Cassidy right here. You can see that this Venom is a bit much taller, mostly because this Venom, actually both of their backs are facing forward with their neck, but still great figure, very tall. And now to the other considered best Venoms of all time. This is the Marvel Select Venom, which with it being a Marvel Select, he's obviously going to be much taller than him. Ah, he got scared that he fell down. But you can see how much a buffer figure this is compared to him. He's a much probably a more realistic approach to Eddie Brock and a symbiote kind of a thing, but this one's massive. Obviously, oh, check this one out on the stop motion. Look up Spider-Man vs. Venom stop motion on my channel. You will find it there. So, final thoughts on this Venom. Huge, massive, great. I bought it for a great price. Again, $12, not bad. So, rating, I have to give it a 9 out of 10. Great figure. I can see why it's one of the best. You? Is it hard for him to choose, David?
9 7/75.
What? What? He felt that in disappointment. Why not a perfect? That was almost close to a 10. Alright guys, so this has been our review